Howdy y'all, you got the Bulldog on the channel. This is not a how-to video. This is not a DIY video. It's not a technical video. Really not even a rant video. It's frustration. If you're in the industry, you've all run into those vehicles that just, they don't want to leave you alone. Customer needs help. They're just wanting their vehicle fixed. And you keep fixing things and fixing things and fixing things and fixing things. And you're double checking yourself. You're trying to make sure that you're right about this. Yes, absolutely, you know, this tire's flat, it's got a hole in it, and you fix that tire, and the other one goes flat. Well, what'd you do to the other one? Nothing. I didn't do anything to it. Well, that doesn't work on mechanical stuff. You can kind of wrap your head around how fixing the tire on the left side will not make the one on the right go flat. But sometimes on these vehicles, because they're so interconnected, because certain systems interact with each other so much, it is so possible to do something and something seemingly unrelated will go bad because of that. I worked on this the other day. This is the one that was having the gas gauge issues. And when it came out, of course, I'd been chasing it for quite some time. The gas gauge quit. And it went to running bad, kind of at the same time. The running bad got worse. Didn't want to start. The first thing I did was check fuel pressure, and it was dropping. And I found a fuel pressure regulator leaking up there, and I fixed that. And it started better. And then he ran it for a few weeks, and it got to where it's starting bad again. And I checked the fuel pressure again, and well, we decided on a tune-up because fuel pressure was up good 60 some pounds. And it run better for a while. And it got to where it didn't want to start again after days. Now, I'm not talking about months between each other. I'm talking about days. Well, I checked the fuel pressure again. Well, now it's low. Okay, well, fuel pump. I put a fuel pump in it. He takes it back. We expected the fuel pump to fix the gas gauge. It didn't. And I thought, well, shoot, I didn't change the plug on top of the thing because it already had one on it. So maybe somebody has used a crimp connector and it was loose connection, something like that. And he said, oh, by the way, it started dying too. Well, they can do that. Changed that, soldered it all together, put it all back together, didn't change a thing. Well, I get it out here finally, and I'm doing everything I can. I got the computer hooked to it. I make the gauge sweep, but it won't work. So I know that it's between the computer and the dash. I start moving wires around. All of a sudden, the gas gauge pumped up. It worked. Okay, it's right here. Wiggled around, and it dropped. Wiggled around, it jumped. Wiggled around, it killed the motor. All right, well, I guess I found more than one problem. And then I took it all apart right there and didn't find a single thing. 3 feet up the harness, I found something. Obvious. Wires in two, burned up. Okay. I fixed everything there. I checked everything out thoroughly. The wires had nothing to do with the gas gauge. As far as I know. I didn't have 3 days to disassemble the entire harness and look every single wire over. I had it all affixed to prevent the problem again, and then put it all back together. Gas gauge worked. Well, he had said before that it was running worse and worse. And maybe there's something wrong with the tack. It kept staying up there. used to stay down here, now it's up here. Okay, well, you know, maybe it's power to the dash or something like that, some signal wires to the dash. Since I know there's a problem to the dash, I've checked it. Well, I get in there and it's the crank sensor wire and, you know, things of those natures. And yeah, that'll cause some issues there, and fix them, put it all back together. Drove it and it seemed to shift up okay, better than it did. Okay, it's fixed. I get a call the next day. He said, everything run great. Okay. I get a call the next day, runs terrible. What's it doing? It's like, well, the tach is revving up again. Well, I get to check it that night, and yeah, it's not shifting up. It's staying in a low gear until it gets to, it is skipping seconds what it's doing. And then it's not shifted into fourth. So you got first and third, that's it. No check engine light. Well, what the heck? Well, I turned the key on and no check engine light. Okay, the check engine light's burned out. I checked the codes, and we got a slew of codes. TPS, mass airflow. Oh, well, that can cause some problems. I clear everything out. And just for grins and giggles, I checked the tranny fluid. Wet tranny fluid. I had 1 quart with me. I poured a quart in it, told him go get a quart of Lucas and put that in there. Hopefully we can save it. Well, he drove it for a couple of days. He said it's shifting great, everything's working great. And then he called me a day after that. Yeah, it went to shifting terrible again, and running bad, and the tach's up again. I know it has to do something with them wires. When it didn't do that until we messed with them wires, because it didn't do that until we messed with them wires. Does it have anything to do with them wires? No. I just got a chance to put the computer on it. The computer asks for it to shift into second. The computer recognizes that the solenoid triggered to shift into second. It doesn't shift into second, it just stays in first. If there was a wiring problem, the computer would be throwing a circuit code for that solenoid. Instead, it threw a performance code for that solenoid, meaning it's stuck or non-functional. Electrically, it's working. That means the signal and the ground are both good. Whenever they program this thing, sometimes, most of the time really, I got to give them the benefit of the doubt. They most of the stuff they do right. But the things that they do wrong are the ones that I have to fight. They have different code definitions. That's why it matters exactly what the wording is. If it says performance, that means the part is physically not responding as it should. If it says circuit, it means it's electrically not responding as it should. First part of this video was when I finally got a chance to drive it on my own with a computer on it and watch what it was doing. Stuck valve. The 2-4 shift valve was stuck. It would call for second gear and it would just not shift. It did not let go of first gear. It just had to rev up past second gear and catch third. And then it would not shift into high. That's why his tach was going up. So I drove it around a little bit, went from cold to hot, just to see if it made any difference. It didn't, because it didn't start until I messed with that wiring. When I diagnosed the wiring problem. And it started that day, after I pulled the wiring around and confirmed that the gas gauge problem was right there. So, completely logical. But it had absolutely nothing to do with it. And that's why I was so dejected when I was talking in the first part of this video about the cars that just don't want to leave. Now, weekend did not get any better at all. I'll string that out as we go. I just wanted to talk about that, give an update on that truck. Now, he called me yesterday. He said, shifting fine now. No problem at all. Well, good, because I don't want to pull that thing apart. With that additive in there, hopefully it kind of cleans it up. It's just got a varnish on the valve, and it sticks on occasion. So, cross your fingers. Like, comment, subscribe, hit your little bell notification, share it all around. We'll talk to you later.